The final phase began with a transmission that reached every communication system in Council space simultaneously. Commander Lisa Martinez stood before cameras aboard the ESS Defiance with Admiral Kate Johnson and Dr. Rebecca Hayes, flanked by holographic displays showing the true extent of human military power. Behind them appeared images of thousands of ghost ships that had remained hidden throughout the galaxy. Lisa Martinez spoke with calm authority that carried the weight of righteous fury as she addressed the alien races that had threatened humanity with extinction. Her voice reached every world in Council space as she reminded them of their insults and their demands for human surrender. The commander listed each threat the aliens had made while displaying evidence of their planned genocide. The transmission showed footage of Phantom Fleet operations that had devastated Council military forces across 17 star systems. Alien vessels exploded in brilliant flashes, while their sensors showed empty space where the attacks originated. The recordings proved that humanity possessed technology that surpassed anything the Council races had developed over millennia of advancement. Dr. Hayes stepped forward to explain how human innovation had achieved breakthroughs that alien science considered impossible. Her teams had not simply copied Council technology, but had improved it beyond recognition, while developing entirely new approaches to physics and engineering. The Phantom vessels represented just the beginning of what humanity could accomplish when properly motivated. Admiral Johnson described the capabilities of the Ghost Fleet in terms that sent shockwaves throughout alien space. The Phantom ships could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, while striking from angles that did not exist in Council mathematics. Their weapons could phase through any known defense, while their stealth systems made them invisible to every detection method the aliens possessed. The Prometheus engine activated beneath Earth, sending quantum pulses that rippled through space-time itself. Every alien sensor in the galaxy detected impossible energy signatures, as the massive device demonstrated power that could reshape reality. The readings caused alien instruments to overload and melt as they tried to process forces beyond their comprehension. Supreme Chancellor Thex watched the human transmission from his chamber, while his multiple eye stalks reflected terror at what he was witnessing. The ancient Melmari had believed his species was among the most advanced in the galaxy, but the humans were displaying technology that made Council achievements look primitive. His confidence crumbled as he realized the magnitude of their error. The Vorthak homeworld erupted in panic as their crystalline spires detected dimensional distortions that threatened the very fabric of space around their planet. Their greatest scientists reported that humans were manipulating forces that could destroy entire star systems, if they chose to do so. The crystal beings who had called humanity primitive now begged for mercy from powers they could not understand. Captain Jennifer Stone transmitted the captured intelligence files that revealed Council plans for human genocide. The classified documents showed how the aliens had intended to systematically exterminate every human, while claiming to offer peaceful relocation. The evidence shocked even species that were not part of the Council alliance. The Xerix Military Command Center received reports that human forces had appeared throughout their space without warning. Ghost ships materialized near their most important installations, while Phantom fighters danced through their defensive networks. The insectoid race that had boasted about crushing human resistance now cowered before enemies they could not fight. Commander Victoria Lee piloted the HSS Shadow through the heart of Council space, while broadcasting human terms for peace. Their Phantom vessel appeared on alien sensors just long enough to deliver the message, before vanishing back into dimensional phase. Humanity demanded complete Council withdrawal from human territory and recognition of their right to exist freely. Dr. Hayes explained how the Prometheus engine could fold space-time to move entire star systems if necessary. The device represented power that could relocate the human homeworld beyond alien reach, or bring it close enough to destroy Council capitals with gravitational forces. The aliens realized they faced opponents who possessed the power of gods. The emergency Council session dissolved into chaos as representatives fled to contact their homeworlds with news of human capabilities. The great alliance that had dominated the galaxy for thousands of years crumbled in hours as member species prioritized their own survival over collective power. Fear had replaced arrogance throughout alien space. Admiral Johnson broadcast final terms to the Council races, while Phantom ships positioned themselves near every alien homeworld. Humanity demanded immediate cessation of hostile activities and formal recognition of human sovereignty throughout their claimed territories. The aliens had exactly 72 hours to comply or face consequences that would reshape the galaxy. Captain Rachel Turner commanded the HSS Spectre as it took position near the Vorthak capital, while quantum weapons powered up to demonstrate human resolve. The Phantom vessel could destroy the entire crystalline city in seconds if the aliens chose to continue their aggression. The message was clear that humanity would no longer tolerate threats to their survival. The council races began transmitting surrender messages within hours as the reality of human power became undeniable. Species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia humbled themselves before humans they had called primitive and barbaric. The aliens begged for mercy while promising to respect human territory and acknowledge their technological superiority. Maya Thompson monitored quantum signatures from throughout the galaxy as alien fleets began withdrawing from human space. Her instruments showed council forces retreating to their own territories while broadcasting messages of peaceful intent. The aliens had learned that threatening humanity was the most dangerous mistake any species could make. The final transmission from Earth reached every corner of the galaxy, carrying a simple message that would be remembered for generations. Humanity had proven they were not the weak primitives the Council believed, but were instead apex predators who had been holding back their true capabilities. The aliens had awakened a force that could destroy or protect, depending on how they were treated. Dr. Hayes deactivated the Prometheus engine as reports confirmed Council compliance with human demands. The demonstration had achieved its purpose by showing the galaxy that humanity possessed power beyond alien comprehension. The Phantom Fleet returned to their hidden bases while maintaining watch over Council territory. Commander Martinez concluded the historic transmission by declaring that humanity sought peace, but would respond to future threats with overwhelming force. The species that had survived ice ages and extinction events had proven they could adapt and overcome any challenge. The galaxy had learned to respect human determination and technological supremacy through the hardest lesson possible. Commander Lisa Martinez stood on the bridge of the ESS Defiance watching the alien transmission appear on the main screen. The holographic display showed 3 different alien species sitting behind a curved table made of some glowing metal. The tall crystal beings called Vorthak sat in the center with their bodies reflecting light like living diamonds. To their left were the Melmari, who looked like giant slugs with multiple eyes on stalks. On the right sat the insectoid Xerix with their compound eyes and clicking mandibles. The lead Vorthak spoke first, and its voice carried through the bridge speakers with cold authority. It called humans a failed species that had no place among the civilized races of the galaxy. The creature said human technology was outdated and primitive, compared to what the Council members had developed over thousands of years. It claimed human military forces were weak and could not protect even their own home system. Captain Amy Rodriguez stood beside Martinez and felt anger building in her chest as she listened to the insults. The Vorthak continued speaking about how humans were violent and barbaric creatures who only knew how to fight and destroy. It said the Council had decided that humanity needed to be moved far away from important trade routes and populated systems. The Melmari delegate joined the conversation with its wet-sounding voice. It told the humans they had exactly 30 days to surrender all their weapons and dismantle their space fleets. The alien said humans would be given transport ships to move their entire population to remote planets on the edge of the galaxy where they could live under Council supervision. It promised that humans would be treated well if they cooperated, but warned that resistance would bring swift punishment. The Xerix representative clicked its mandibles together before speaking. Its voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. It listed all the human colonies and space stations that the Council knew about and said their forces were already moving to occupy these locations. The insect creature seemed pleased as it described how easy it would be to crush any human resistance with their advanced warships and superior technology. Lisa Martinez kept her face calm even though every word from the aliens made her want to reach for her weapon. She had spent 20 years in space protecting human interests and had seen what these so-called civilized species did to worlds they conquered. The captain knew the Council was lying about treating humans well after relocation. She had read classified reports about other species that had been moved to the outer rim and were never heard from again. The transmission showed recordings of council fleets gathering near human space. Hundreds of massive alien warships moved in perfect formation through the darkness between stars. Their hulls gleamed with energy shields and weapon arrays that could destroy entire cities with single shots. The aliens wanted humans to see this display of power and feel hopeless about fighting back. Amy Rodriguez watched her crew members as they listened to the council demands. She saw anger and fear in their eyes, but also something else that made her proud to be human. There was defiance in the way Chief Engineer Maya Thompson gripped her console, and determination in how Communications Officer Linda Carter monitored the alien signals. These people would not go quietly into exile no matter how powerful their enemies claimed to be. The Vorthak spoke again about human history and called them a species that solved every problem with violence. It mentioned human wars and conflicts as proof that they were too dangerous to live among peaceful civilized races. The crystal being seemed to enjoy listing human failures and weaknesses while describing how the council would fix these problems through forced relocation and re-education programs. What the aliens did not know was that humans had been preparing for this day for decades. Hidden research stations throughout the solar system had been working on projects that would shock the galaxy if their existence became known. Dr. Rebecca Hayes had been leading teams of scientists in reverse engineering alien technology, recovered from crash sites and abandoned outposts. Her breakthroughs in quantum physics and dimensional science had given humanity capabilities that no other species possessed. The council transmission finally ended with a countdown timer appearing on the screen. 30 days until human surrender or face the consequences of defying the most powerful alliance in the galaxy. The alien representatives looked satisfied as their images faded away, leaving the bridge of the Defiance in silence. Lisa Martinez turned to face her crew and saw the same fire in their eyes that had driven humanity to survive ice ages and asteroid impacts. She knew that every human ship in space had received the same message and the same ultimatum. The aliens expected fear and quick surrender from primitive humans who could not possibly match their technology and numbers. Maya Thompson broke the silence by asking if they should activate something called the Ghost Protocol. Her voice carried hope mixed with anticipation as she waited for orders. Other crew members looked toward their captain, knowing that whatever came next would determine the future of their species. The captain smiled for the first time since the transmission began. She told Thompson to send coded messages to all hidden human fleets scattered throughout space. The time had come to show the galaxy why humans had never been conquered by any enemy they had faced. The Council was about to learn that insulting humanity and threatening their freedom was the biggest mistake they could ever make. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had devolved into complete chaos, as representatives from dozens of species shouted accusations and demanded explanations. The great chamber that had witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations now echoed with panic as the most powerful alliance in the galaxy faced an enemy they could not understand or fight. The Xerix delegate clicked its mandibles frantically as it reported the destruction of their entire outer defense network. The insectoid creature described attacks that came from nowhere and left no trace except devastated military installations. Its compound eyes reflected terror as it admitted that their most advanced sensors could not detect the human vessels until the moment they struck. Supreme Chancellor Beck slithered forward on his mobility platform, while his multiple eye stalks swiveled to observe the panicking representatives. The ancient Melmari had ruled the Council for over 2 centuries and had seen many species challenge their authority, but none had ever demonstrated capabilities that defied established physics. His wet voice carried authority, but also uncertainty as he tried to maintain order. The Vorthak military commander stood before the assembly with its crystalline body flickering through stress patterns that revealed deep fear. It reported that human forces had penetrated their most secure installations and destroyed defense platforms that had protected their homeworld for millennia. The crystal being admitted that their greatest scientists could not explain how the attacks had been carried out. Captain Jennifer Stone commanded the HSS Revenant as it prepared for the most daring operation yet attempted by the Phantom Fleet. Her vessel would materialize inside a heavily fortified Council intelligence facility to capture classified data that would reveal their true plans for humanity. The ghost chip existed in dimensional phase, allowing it to pass through solid walls and security barriers like they were empty space. Admiral Kate Johnson received reports from her scattered fleet commanders as they continued operations throughout Council territory. The Phantom vessels had destroyed over 300 alien military installations while suffering 0 casualties. The ghost ships moved like specters through enemy space, striking where they were least expected and vanishing before retaliation was possible. Dr. Rebecca Hayes analyzed the quantum resonance patterns from successful dimensional phase operations while her teams prepared for the final demonstration of human technological supremacy. Her breakthrough discoveries had given humanity capabilities that surpassed anything the Council races had achieved in thousands of years of development. The aliens were about to witness power that would redefine their understanding of physics. The Council intelligence networks buzzed with desperate attempts to gather information about human capabilities and intentions. Their best agents reported that human colonies appeared to be preparing for evacuation, just as demanded. But something felt wrong about the entire situation. The aliens could not explain the devastating attacks on their military forces. Commander Victoria, Lee piloted the HSS Shadow through the heart of a Melmari fleet formation, while monitoring their communications for intelligence about Council battle plans. The Phantom vessel recorded tactical data and troop movements that would be invaluable for future operations. The slug-like aliens had no idea that death floated invisibly among their ships. The Revenant materialized inside the Council intelligence facility with Captain Stone leading her, boarding teams through corridors filled with alien security forces that could not see or detect them. The human soldiers wore personal phase suits that allowed them to walk through walls and energy barriers, while remaining completely invisible to enemy sensors and weapons. Chief Tactical Officer Amanda Clark coordinated simultaneous operations across 17 star systems while maintaining real-time communication with every ghost ship captain. Her neural interface processed massive amounts of tactical data, allowing her to identify weaknesses in alien defenses and plan strikes with surgical precision. The Phantom fleet operated with coordination that amazed even human observers. The captured intelligence files revealed the true extent of Council plans for humanity. The aliens had never intended to relocate human populations to remote worlds for peaceful colonization. Their documents described systematic extermination programs designed to eliminate humanity completely while harvesting their technology and resources for Council. Admiral Johnson reviewed the shocking intelligence data while her anger grew with each classified document. The Council had planned genocide disguised as relocation, while publicly claiming to be a civilized alliance dedicated to peace and cooperation. The aliens had sealed their fate by revealing the depths of their deception and cruelty. Captain Susan Wright flew the HSS, Whisper through formations of Council interceptors, while her advanced fighter demonstrated flight capabilities that seemed to violate basic laws of physics. The experimental vessel could appear and disappear at will, while delivering precise strikes that destroyed multiple enemy fighters in seconds. The aliens could not comprehend technology that operated beyond their understanding. The Council emergency session continued as more reports arrived, describing impossible attacks by invisible human forces. Their military leaders admitted they had no effective countermeasures against enemies that could strike from dimensions their science could not detect or access. Fear replaced arrogance as the aliens realized they faced extinction. Dr. Hayes initiated the final phase of her demonstration by activating the Prometheus engine hidden deep within Earth. The massive device began manipulating space-time on a scale that sent quantum shockwaves throughout the galaxy. Every alien sensor network detected energy signatures that exceeded their most advanced theoretical predictions. The Phantom fleet received orders to return to designated coordinates as Admiral Johnson prepared to reveal the full extent of human capabilities to the galaxy. The ghost ships had proven that humanity possessed technology that could defeat any enemy. But the real demonstration was yet to come. The Council was about to witness power that would shock every civilization in known space. Captain Stone completed her intelligence gathering mission and prepared the Revenant for extraction with data that proved Council intentions to commit genocide against humanity. The evidence would justify everything that followed as humans showed the galaxy what happened to those who threatened their survival and freedom. The aliens had made the worst mistake possible by underestimating human determination and ingenuity. The first attacks began without any warning across 17 different council worlds at exactly the same moment. Alien commanders had no time to react as their most important military installations simply vanished from existence in brilliant flashes of quantum energy. Defense platforms that had protected these worlds for centuries disappeared, leaving only scattered debris floating in space. Captain, Rachel Turner gave the order for the HSS Spectre to begin its assault on Vorthak Prime. The Phantom vessel materialized just long enough to fire quantum torpedoes that tore through the alien defense grid like it was made of tissue paper. The crystalline beings watched in horror as their orbital fortresses exploded, one after another, while their sensors showed empty space where the attacks were coming from. Admiral Kate Johnson coordinated the multidimensional assault from her command position aboard the HSS Wraith. Each ghost ship struck with surgical precision, targeting military assets while carefully avoiding civilian populations. The Admiral had given strict orders that humanity would show the galaxy they were not the barbarians the Council claimed them to be. Commander Victoria Lee piloted the HSS Shadow through formations of Melmari warships that could not see death approaching from impossible angles. Her vessel appeared inside their defensive perimeter and launched weapons that phase-shifted through enemy shields before exploding inside their hulls. Alien captains died without understanding what force had destroyed their mighty battle fleet. The Xerix homeworld erupted in panic as their supposedly impregnable space stations began exploding in sequence. Chief Tactical Officer Amanda Clark had analyzed their defensive patterns and found weaknesses that the insectoid race had never imagined existed. Ghost ships appeared at precisely calculated positions and delivered destruction with mathematical perfection. Captain Susan Wright flew the HSS Whisper through swarms of alien fighters that fired uselessly at targets they could not detect. Her small craft moved between dimensions while her weapons found every enemy vessel with deadly accuracy. The experimental fighter danced through impossible flight patterns that defied every law of physics the aliens thought they understood. Dr. Rebecca Hayes monitored the quantum communication network from her laboratory on Earth while watching real-time reports from the Phantom fleet. Her dimensional phase technology was performing beyond even her most optimistic projections. The ghost ships were demonstrating capabilities that would force the Council to completely reconsider everything they thought they knew about human potential. The Vorthak Military Command Center received emergency transmissions from throughout their territory as base after base reported devastating attacks by invisible enemies. Their crystal generals tried to coordinate defensive responses but found it impossible to fight an enemy that could not be detected until the moment it struck. Panic spread through their command structure as losses mounted with no way to retaliate. Commander Nicole Stone reported to Admiral Johnson that Phase 1 objectives had been completed ahead of schedule. Every major Council military installation in the target zones had been neutralized with minimal human casualties. The Ghost Fleet had achieved complete tactical surprise and maintained their invisibility throughout the initial assault. The Melmari Supreme Council called an emergency session as reports flooded in about the impossible attacks on their forces. Their greatest military minds could not explain how human vessels were penetrating their most advanced defensive systems. The slug-like beings began to understand that they had severely underestimated the species. They had planned to relocate. Captain Turner positioned the HSS Spectre near a Vorthak communication relay and prepared to intercept their military transmissions. The Phantom vessel could monitor alien communications while remaining completely undetected, allowing human intelligence services to track enemy responses and plan future operations. The ghost ships were gathering information that would be invaluable for subsequent phases. The Xerix emergency response fleets found nothing but debris when they arrived at the coordinates of their destroyed installations. Their insectoid scouts searched desperately for any trace of the attacking forces, but found only empty space and floating wreckage. The creatures began to experience something they had never felt before when facing a supposedly primitive enemy. Admiral Johnson smiled as she reviewed the battle reports streaming in from her Phantom fleet commanders. The first phase had exceeded all expectations and demonstrated that human innovation could overcome any technological advantage their enemies believed they possessed. The Council was beginning to understand that they had awakened something far more dangerous than they could have imagined. Chief Engineer Maya Thompson monitored quantum signatures from the ghost ships as they prepared for the next phase of operations. Her instruments showed that the dimensional phase generators were operating at peak efficiency, allowing the phantom vessels to maintain their invisibility while delivering devastating firepower. The technology was proving itself in combat conditions. Dr. Hayes received confirmation that all ghost ship captains had successfully completed their assigned missions without revealing their true capabilities to the enemy. The aliens had seen only brief glimpses of human weapons before their targets were destroyed. The full extent of human technological advancement remained hidden for future operations. The Council monitoring stations detected massive energy signatures from the attack sites but could not identify the source or nature of the weapons being used. Their best scientists analyzed the quantum residue left behind and found patterns that suggested technology far beyond their current understanding. Fear began to replace arrogance in alien command centers. Captain Lee prepared the HSS Shadow for deep penetration raids into Council territory where the Phantom vessel would target supply lines and communication networks. The ghost ships could strike anywhere without warning and disappear before enemy reinforcements could respond. The aliens were learning that nowhere in their space was safe from human retaliation. The first wave of attacks had been carefully planned to send a clear message to the Council while demonstrating human capabilities that would shock the galaxy. Admiral Johnson knew that the aliens would be analyzing every piece of data they could gather, trying to understand how humans had developed such advanced technology in secret. 3 weeks passed since the Council delivered their ultimatum to humanity, and their monitoring station showed exactly what they expected to see. Human military installations across known space had begun shutting down their defensive systems and powering down weapon arrays. Transport ships moved between Earth colonies carrying what appeared to be evacuation supplies. The aliens congratulated themselves on another successful intimidation campaign against a primitive species. Admiral Kate Johnson floated in the zero-gravity command center of the HSS Wraith deep in space where no alien scanner could detect her presence. Her ship existed in a state of dimensional phase that Dr. Rebecca Hayes had developed using breakthrough discoveries in quantum mechanics. The Wraith and 36 other vessels like it occupied space that was slightly shifted from normal reality, making them invisible to every known detection method in the galaxy. The Ghost Fleet had been under construction for 15 years in hidden facilities built inside asteroids and on the dark sides of uninhabited moons. Each ship represented technology that surpassed anything the Council races had ever imagined. Human engineers had not just copied alien designs but had improved them in ways that seemed impossible according to established physics. Lieutenant Commander Nicole Stone reported to Admiral Johnson that all Phantom vessels were in position throughout Council territory. The ghost ships had traveled to their targets using jump drives that folded space-time itself, allowing them to cover vast distances without being detected. Some ships now floated near alien homeworlds while others positioned themselves close to major military installations. Captain Rachel Turner commanded the HSS Spectre, which had taken position near the crystal cities of the Vorthak homeworld. Her crew watched through dimensional viewers as alien patrol ships passed directly through their hull without knowing another vessel was there. The humans had learned to exist between dimensions where they could observe everything while remaining completely hidden from their enemies. Dr. Hayes had spent years studying recovered alien technology and had made discoveries that revolutionized human understanding of physics. She found that most alien races had developed their science along predictable paths that made certain assumptions about the nature of reality. Humans approaching the same problems from a different angle had found solutions that the Council considered theoretically impossible. The quantum phase generators that powered the Ghost Fleet created fields that shifted matter slightly out of normal space-time. Ships in this state could pass through solid objects and were invisible to all forms of electromagnetic detection. The technology also allowed human vessels to appear anywhere without warning and disappear just as quickly before enemy weapons could lock onto their positions. Commander Victoria Lee piloted the HSS Shadow through a Melmery star system while remaining undetected by their advanced sensor networks. Her ship had quantum processors that could calculate millions of possible attack vectors in seconds while monitoring enemy communications and defensive patterns. The Shadow could strike with precision that would devastate alien forces before they understood what was happening. Chief Tactical Officer Amanda Clark coordinated the movements of all ghost ships from her position. Aboard a hidden command vessel, her neural interface allowed her to process information from dozens of sources simultaneously, while maintaining real-time communication with every Phantom ship captain. The network she controlled represented the most advanced military coordination system ever developed. Captain Susan Wright flew the experimental fighter HSS Whisper through formations of Xerix interceptors that could not see or detect her presence. Her small craft carried weapons that could punch through alien shields and armor like they were made of paper. The Whisper could appear inside enemy formations and destroy multiple targets before vanishing into dimensional phase. The aliens had no idea that human technology had advanced far beyond their own capabilities. Council intelligence services had been monitoring human communications and had seen only what humanity wanted them to see. The real developments in human science had taken place in facilities that existed partially outside normal space, making them impossible to detect or infiltrate. Admiral Johnson received reports from ghost ship captains throughout the galaxy as they completed their preliminary reconnaissance missions. Human forces now had detailed information about every major alien military installation and the locations of all Council fleets. The Phantom vessels had mapped defensive systems and identified critical weaknesses that could be exploited when the time came to strike. The Council races believed they held overwhelming advantages in technology and numbers, but they had made crucial mistakes in their assessment of human capabilities. They had seen human conflicts and assumed that represented the full extent of human military science. They had monitored human communications and believed they understood human intentions and limitations. Maya Thompson worked in the engineering section of the Defiance, monitoring quantum signatures from the hidden fleet. Her instruments showed ghost ships positioned throughout Council space, ready to demonstrate why humanity had survived every extinction-level threat that had ever faced their species. The aliens were about to discover that humans were not the primitive creatures they believed. Dr. Hayes transmitted final instructions to all Phantom vessel commanders through quantum-entangled communication systems that could not be intercepted or decoded by alien intelligence services. Her teams had spent decades preparing for this moment when humanity would reveal capabilities that would shock the galaxy and force a complete reevaluation of human potential. The ghost ships began moving toward their assigned targets as Admiral Johnson prepared to begin the next phase of operations. The Council had demanded human surrender and had threatened consequences for resistance. They were about to learn why threatening humanity and insulting their honor was the most dangerous mistake any species could make. Captain Turner watched alien patrol ships through her dimensional viewers as they continued their routine patrols, unaware that death floated invisibly beside them. The Vorthak had called humans primitive and laughable, but they were about to discover what human innovation could accomplish when properly motivated. The Ghost Fleet was ready to show the galaxy what real power looked like.